Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. And to my left or to your right, we have the LGP. So, hello.
Hello there, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thanks.
Well, it's been a while since you've been on the channel. But how did you find last night's game against Villa?
It's definitely a step in the right direction. Compared to obviously last Monday, I'm a lot more happier. But it's definitely a step in the right direction. Obviously, got the fans behind the manager and the team, and that's definitely what you want. Whereas compared, it's not being as great. Well, I mean, it's never going to be great when you bottle in Leeds to Bournemouth and Fulham, but it was definitely a much improved performance from the players. The players looked more up for it. There was a lot more fight, a lot more bark, a lot more bite in the team, which is what's definitely been missing in the last couple of weeks. And it was definitely in the new shape. I think it worked a lot better. There's still obviously one or two things you could tweak, but it was definitely a much more improved performance.
What did you think finished the performance? Obviously, don't knew that they had to bounce back from last week anyway. But do you think is there any other factors that you possibly would think why we changed and made me look a lot more better?
Well, obviously, I think it was fairly obvious for a manager of Steve Cooper's stature will obviously realise that quicker than most. I think some of the players would have realised it as well. I think a few players not performing to their usual standards as well. I think obviously of that crisis meeting that we had earlier on in the week. I think that also probably had a part to play. But yeah, I'd say it was a collective that helped us change our ways.
Mm. Definitely. What do you think to the Super Troopers getting this new contract? I mean, the fan base were really fired up from that last night.
Oh yeah, definitely. Obviously, I was ecstatic. I mean, I was walking home, and then I got a notification on my phone. I checked it, and I saw breaking news. I saw Steve Cooper. And I was like, "Oh no, you've not done you've not done this, Evangelos." But yeah, and I was like, "Breaking news, obviously brilliant." Brilliant news for the club. I think it adds a little bit. It steadies the ship in a sense, which might sound a bit strange because he can still, in theory, get sacked, but it sort of it still keeps his job in the a little bit more secure, and also the players that won't be worrying like, oh, we're going to get a new manager, this. Because if you sign a 3-year contract, it's going to cost the ownership a hell of a lot more money to sack him. Sorry, because there's more time left on his contract. You've got 4 years before it expires.
Definitely, I completely agree with you. Who stood up for you the most last night?
Oh, obviously, the obvious ones will be Ryan Yates in midfield. I think Freuler went under the radar a little bit. I think McKenna and Cook were actually pretty decent as well. I think obviously a lot of people were calling for Steve Cook to be dropped, and I think he put in a very good performance. Sometimes a little bit daft with some little fouls he gives away, but again, he put in a good 7 out of 10 performance. I think McKenna as well. I think Toffolo was good. He's been a lot better than Loddy in recent weeks. Loddy's positioning has been really suspect. But yeah, I think Toffolo came in, did very well. Gibbs White was quality. I probably, if I was had to pinpoint, then I'd probably put it between Ryan Yates. I'd probably put it for Ryan Yates if it was my man of the match.
Yeah, that I said last night. To be fair, Yates was my man of the match. Just it put in a captain's performance for me, and
Mm.
that's what you need from your captain. If you're performing up there, everyone else got to be thinking if he's performing like that, I got to be performing like that.
Mm. Yeah, lead by example.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that I noticed last night when we was in that defensive structure that we had enough 10 men by the ball, but Philly weren't having any luck with it. Yeah, they had a couple of chances where the ball came in, but we dealt with it and we had bodies in the box and we had people ran where they couldn't do like the little 1 and 2s or get have any clear shots properly, if that makes sense, by the long
Yeah.
range shots.
Hmm. I think on that point of long range shots, I think that's probably if you're taking anything from these first 9 games in the league, we have to work on the long shots because we've got Wolves next. They've got some players that can take a long shot. Ruben Neves is known for his long shot, so it's something we need to work on. And I think if there's anything negative to take out from that game, it's that Ashley Young, who hasn't scored for 10 years, putting one in the top corner. Very good goal, but I think, as you were saying, we've got players back, but I just feel like there's no one because we've got so many players in the box. There's no one really closing down those players outside of the area, and because there's so much power and so much height behind the shot, it's nothing you can really say the goalkeeper can do. So
Mm.
that's probably the only negative you could take out from that game.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you on that one. Um, I know two other things I've got is the first one is that combination with the front three. I mean, Gibbs White and Dennis started to form a really quality partnership, whereas Brennan's not really turned up. So, what would you do with that front three?
Now, obviously, I love Brennan Johnson. I think the reason he's been given more chances than, say, other players is because of he impressed. He was one of the key reasons why we were promoted last year, which is why I think Cooper's giving him some more leeway. But he just doesn't look physical enough. I think that's just a case of spending some time in the gym practicing. And at the end of the day, like this is his third full season at regular first team professional football. 2 years ago, he was playing in League One for Lincoln. So you got to bear that in mind. It's and I think what I would do, I love Brennan Johnson, but I think I would play. What I would do is Morgan Gibbs on the left hand side, Taiwo Awoniyi through the middle, and one of Dennis or Surridge on that right hand side. I think Dennis made a good account for himself. I just think there was a few times where he lost possession a little bit in a bit of a sloppy manner, but I think when we actually played to his strengths, he looked very good. When we tried to get
Yeah,
the ball to his feet, he looked good. And when you're playing as a winger, you're going to get your ball to your feet more than when we're just going to lump it up. So I think Deus would work well on the wing, and let's not forget we've got Sam Soares, who he's definitely the best finisher at the club to bring off the bench 10, 15 minutes to go.
I completely agree. Echo what you said. That Sam Surridge is the best finisher at the club as well. So, completely echo what you said.
Mm.
The last point I want to touch on about is the defence because obviously we look a lot more screwed with the fullbacks being in. Obviously, when Williams came on, he gave us that something different going forward on that right hand side that Brennan didn't really offer. That makes sense.
Yeah,
With Toffolo, he had a lot more steady game and he looked well equipped. But it's just the 10 to us. I mean, they had a bit ambats at dawn, which um, a lot of people say, oh, here we go again. But it just proves how much they care about the club that if them two are arguing and how old form they had last season, do you think that would bode well for us?
yeah. Obviously, it helps with the players caring, especially if you got players caring like that weren't like homegrown players who didn't support the club growing up. That's a good sign. But definitely, I think obviously onto your point about the defensive structure. Obviously, I think Nearcart is back in the next 2, maybe 3 weeks. So that's perfect because he's definitely our best defender at the club. And when we wanted to play the back three, back five, we've Laxon who's got that pace to get back. And I think if we do want to go back to the back three, which I don't know, then Nearcart will fit in well. He'll put less pressure on the fullbacks because sometimes the fullbacks look hesitant to get forwards because they would have to get back really quick because the defence was slower and needed that bit of pace. But I think McKenna and Steve Cook were fantastic last night, and I know Cook's gone under a bit of scrutiny on his performances and whatnot. But I think he did very well. I think obviously I said earlier on that put in a few nitty gritty like challenges he didn't really have to make, but he was calm. McKenna was good. McKenna's not put a foot wrong in a Forest shirt, bar that that bad pass for the Bournemouth goal, but it was Jack Colback's ball that forced him into doing that. But yeah, I think obviously the defensive structure has been a lot better. I feel like Toffolo is so much more defensively sound than Lodi. This might have been an unpopular opinion, but Lodi just hasn't been it for me. Just because he comes from Atletico Madrid doesn't mean he's world class. Doesn't mean he's Andy Robertson. I just think his positioning has been very suspect. I think the Fulham goal, the third Fulham goal in specific, where we've got two players already covering the Fulham player. And then Lodi runs across for no reason, and then he puts in the cross. Harrison Reed, who is Lodi's man, was unmarked and has a tap in. So, and that's why I think Toffolo's just more defensively sound uh, than Lodi, and that's when you are a newly promoted club looking to stay up, you probably need that more defensive stability than that offensive stability. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That's sort of similar to like Nico Williams as well in a way that yes, that offensive ability, but defensively
Mm.
needs that side developing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your socials?
Yes, so obviously on YouTube it's LJP as it is. What about there? Also, I've just done a stream with Dan just moments after recording this and a couple of others. If you want to check that out, we talk about the Villa game and a few other things. Got Twitter and Instagram. It's LJPYT underscore. You'll find a lot more stuff about YouTube and Forest and whatnot. My instant reaction, but yeah, it's LJP on YouTube. I upload that once a week, sometimes twice. Just talk about Forest, general football. Yeah, make sure to check it out. It's greatly appreciated. Like and subscribe. Trying to get to 300 subs as soon as possible. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for LGP for coming on. Do hit his socials on. Like I said, I will tag his YouTube channel in the title of the name. So do go check that out, guys. So thank you for coming on anyway.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's alright. So I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys. Do hit the subscribe button. So I'd like to say thank you and goodbye.